Um, Thank you for all what we heard this morning. It was really exciting, fascinating lectures. Um, what I will be sharing with you now is some remarks I already did, and they will be completely connected with all what you said this morning. And I will just stop at any slide to connect with what it was said. It will take only 10 minutes, and then the floor will be shared for any question from the audience. Is it okay, Virginia? She's not here. Okay. Rida? Okay. So, um, Feyerabend and the colonization of knowledge, from where does it start? I think it's important to give a kind of epistemological context, the beginnings of a critique of positivism, as Malolo says. That is to say, namely, science is precise and have principles divided into empirical and logical theories. This kind of positivism was really put in much critics, and it was led by many, these beginnings of critics were led by many philosophers. First, by Wittgenstein, who shows really a disaffection with Western civilization. By Karl Popper, it was said this morning that this idea that every theory is bound to be falsified. By Quine, according to Quine, there are two beliefs. On the one hand, the belief in a brute fact, on the other, in tautology, were are completely considered as two dogmas. Iris Murdoch, it's very important to speak about her, a woman. She says that you are not born into a neutral world, but into a world of shared values. That's very, very important. Wittgenstein had criticized Fraser. You know, Fraser was the first anthropological chair in UK in the beginning of 20th century. Fraser anthropological work saying that Fraser's explanation were wilder than the supposedly savage reality he described. That's very important. And he took really distance with many explanations, preferring descriptions and just enumerating facts without embedding facts in theories. Why, for example, asked Wittgenstein, shouldn't we have a sacred relationship with our proper name, since it protects us from birth and for the rest of our lives? Fraser was saying that many countries, as African countries, have a sacred relationships to their proper name, and it is completely silly. We have to have a neutral attitude with our proper names. And Wittgenstein says, no, it's very important. It's what protects you from the beginning of your life. What's more, Wittgenstein had pointed out that scientific progress was Western society's greatest unspoken metaphysics. Very important. All this is the basis of Feyerabend philosophy. The more obscure thing for philosophers is to consider that all the realities they analyze must be done in the scientific way. Putting causality everywhere obscures everything. Furthermore, we need to put an end to the facts-value dichotomy. Of course, recognizing their duality, but no dichotomy. The facts themselves carry values. If I say the Prime Minister of Israel is cruel for all he's doing in Gaza, I'm describing and condemning at the same time. Descriptive and normative way of saying things are entangled. There is no description on one side and value on the other side. Neither science is value free, nor is it so relevant to give solution to all human problems. Not only are theories only transitory makeshifts, but even transiently they do not impose themselves even for a short time. Feyerabend's challenge to his contemporaries is demanding that philosophers, it was said by Malolo Disake this morning, see how scientists do their work. Philosophy of science is something very weird, according to him. Philosophy of science, not practice in science. The practice and history of science do not follow rigid principles, but mobilize all kinds of knowledge. You say that, Virginia, at the beginning of this session, including traditional knowledge coming from all countries. Hands-on experience, tacit knowledge, thank you for quoting Polanyi, not that much worked, unfortunately, in the sense given by Polanyi, are good features for the growth of knowledge. Always having the horizon of knowledge and not always of philosophy of science. Knowledge is very important, not especially philosophy of science as it was made historically in history, namely in 19th and 20th century. Against a posteriori theoretical reconstruction that make Galileo out to be a scientist following precise rules, no. Whereas the latter, Galileo used a lot of rhetoric and even aesthetic arguments such as the elegance of heliocentric theory, and involved the ideological battle to impose heliocentrism, links with the Jesuits for times, then with the Dominicans. He had true trials, as you know. Copernic had no trial because he was not that much involved in science as a training in society. Science was just hypothesis for scientists, Kepler as well, but Galileo was challenging society, was challenging schools, was saying, what? We are 80 years after what Copernic says, and we are still dealing with geocentrism in schools. It doesn't work. So 80 years after, 1543 for Copernic, 1616 for Galileo, something changed completely. He wants to make new challenges for transmission of the new science. That's why he had two trials, not for defending Copernic's position, but because he wanted to make it relevant in what was the curricula in the schools. That's interesting for Feyerabend. There's a kind of imperialism in defending pure reason. You know all what was said. Maybe the notion of pure reason is more important than only farewell to reason. Pure reason, reason not mixed with emotion, not mixed with tradition, not mixed with culture, not mixed with whatever. Abstract concepts such as truth, reality, objectivity, narrow people's vision, and ways of being in the world. Malolo Disako this morning just picks up the concept of reality, and it was very important to do that because maybe, as I heard what you said, it will be in discussion. The most important thing is the access to reality more than defining reality. How can we describe all the routes that conduct us, leads us to reality? As Feyerabend refuses scientific method as the only way to know, he finds himself defending others' ways of thinking, namely conceptions from other countries than Western countries. Western societies. We have to give chances to various traditions. Myth do as well as science for acquiring knowledge. Science, it was said also this morning, is not a unified worldview. Incompleteness, very important, and lack of unity are the main features of science. Incompleteness, that's very, very important. How to promote a society in which all traditions have equal rights and equal access to the centers of power. I think it's exactly what Bashir was saying this morning at the end of his talk. Democratic control. It was you, Matteo, who emphasized this feature. Democratic control on science is needed for breaking the tyranny of science. I think what's important here is to say that science, the paradigm according to which science is applied to society, is obsolete, doesn't work. What is important is to be involved in science, is to be implied in science. It's what you called, Matteo, mature citizenship. Mature citizenship is to be completely implied in science. As I am completely involved now in medical sciences, teaching here ethical medicine and ethical research, and ethical medicine as well. I'm very, how can I say, I understand completely the way that Feyerabend was saying that we have to challenge the dogmas. Of course, for this horrible sickness as AIDS, if there were the commitment of associations, of patients, we will not have very quick this tree therapy we had, because of the commitments of associations of patients. And I can also give you another example. In 1830, we were completely giving to people who were dying from pneumonia bloodletting, la saignée. And just Louis said, no, I challenge the dogma. We will take half people without this saignée, blood letting, and we will see what happens. And they do not die. So the risk was big because he was challenging authorities. He was challenging the treatment that was completely unanimous at that way. And that's completely the kind of practice in science that's challenged all the dogmas. How to do justice to the history and the practice of the science enterprise. Thank you.